What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video about biology. Today we have Isaiah Zapata, Nathan Sainum, Thomas Scott, and Evan Tran, and we are going to present to you our public service announcement about coral bleaching and its terrible impact on climate change. Now let's get right into it.
Before we start, we need to know what exactly coral bleaching is. Climate change has affected the world in many different aspects. One of those aspects is the ocean heating up. When the water gets too warm, the algae in the coral expel and leave the coral white in color, hinting in the word bleaching. The coral will eventually die without the algae because the coral and the algae both benefit each other. They have mutualism. Coral bleaching is harmful to this because when these reefs die out from coral bleaching, it causes the fish and wildlife to leave, and then the whole ecosystem is affected. It's negative for everyone.
Climate change is slowly surging, and it's escalated in the past decade. It's affecting a lot of environmental things globally. If this continues, it can and most likely will affect the level of warmth in our coral reefs. Studies since 1998 using environmental covariates have proved that coral bleaching is more common in sea regions with higher amounts of thermal stress. These sea regions are mostly tropical areas near the equator. In the last decade, we found an increase in temperature by almost 1 degree Celsius. Although this seems small, this is proving that there's a very fast increase in sea surface temperatures happening right now, which is leading to a higher intensity of coral bleaching events. The future isn't looking too good for the sea, Mother Nature, and the Earth as a whole. Let's dive right into some statistics. This right here is a worldwide statistical analysis on the overall global distribution of coral bleaching. The white circles show places where no bleaching occurs. However, the colored circles are the areas that are affected by coral bleaching. As you can see, a majority is mainly in coastal and tropical areas.
Climate change is the leading cause of coral bleaching. Humans warm our planet in a variety of ways. Overfishing can remove the fish and algae living in the coral, depend on the fish, so the coral will lose the algae living on it. Pollution is another cause because it affects the symbiotic relationship between the algae and the coral, causing the coral to lose the algae. Destructive fishing practices by humans, like dynamite or cyanide for collecting coral and getting a live coral for aquariums. Coral and the zooxanthellae have a mutualistic relationship, which means they both need each other to survive. But with climate change, it breaks this relationship and kills the zooxanthellae and brings the coral down with it. When the water temperature elevates, the zooxanthellae living in the coral leave the tissue and cause the coloration of the coral to expel from all the stress it is under. Without the algae, the coral is see-through and it appears white to the human eye. It appears white just as it dies, and over time, it becomes more clear and disintegrates. When the coral undergoes stress from the heat, the tissue is therefore lost and it turns white. Coral bleaching is such an issue because the slightest change of 2 degrees can turn white.
Let's now go into the consequences of not addressing the issue, including the global, human, and ecological impacts. The human impact is humans causing global warming, which leads to coral bleaching. By cutting down trees and burning fossil fuels, that increases global warming. If we don't address the consequences of coral bleaching, a large amount of our resources will be lost and wasted. Ecological impacts include reduced growth rate for coral, increased chances for diseases, lower reproductive capacity, etc. If we ignore these consequences, can lead to lots of species of fish and marine species to lessen. The global impact of coral bleaching will have us ending up with no reefs at all. It won't be good for us or the reefs if we continue to ignore coral bleaching. Resources from reefs won't be here anymore, and lots of marine species will suffer.
10% of global carbon emissions come from cars and vans, and in reducing these emissions can significantly reduce pollution. People should walk or bike more as a solution. Another example is to reduce stormwater runoff. by reducing impervious surfaces and install permeable pavement. This allows rain and snowmelt to seep into the soil and gravel below. Additionally, avoiding herbicides and pesticides can help reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Peeling fruits and vegetables when possible can help reduce dirt, bacteria, and pesticides. By reducing the use of vehicles, reducing impervious surfaces, and avoiding herbicides and pesticides, we can work towards a cleaner and healthier environment.